Hello, inner shifters, how you doing? Your host, Sophia here. When we talk about managing anxiety naturally through mindfulness and meditation, we're talking about something so much bigger than sitting cross-legged with your eyes closed. We're talking about coming home to yourself. Not fixing, not numbing, not escaping, but being with yourself in a way that softens the tension and says, "You're safe now." You and I both know that anxiety isn't just feeling nervous. It's that tightness in your chest, the racing thoughts you can't quite tame, the imaginary worst-case scenarios your mind rehearses like a doomsday play. It's the overthinking, the over-preparing, the overachieving, sometimes all wrapped into one moment that feels like it might break you. And I want you to know you're not alone in this, not even close. I remember Clara, one of the kindest souls you'll ever meet, who told me her anxiety used to feel like a silent soundtrack in the background of her whole life. Even when things were good, the noise was still there. What if this falls apart? What if I mess this up? What if I can't handle it? And she got so good at performing calm that no one noticed she was unraveling on the inside. Until one night, she couldn't sleep again, third night in a row, and her heart was pounding so hard it felt like thunder in her ribs. She sat up in bed, scrolling endlessly for relief, and stumbled on something about mindfulness meditation. She didn't even know what it was really, but she downloaded a free app, closed her eyes, and followed the voice for just 5 minutes. And no, it wasn't magic. Her anxiety didn't disappear in those 5 minutes. But something did shift. She noticed her breath. She noticed her thoughts not as facts, but as thoughts. She felt a flicker of space between the noise and her. And that was the beginning of healings. Because here, what mindfulness really is. It's the practice of paying attention to this moment without judgment, that's it. And when you apply that simple, radical attention to anxiety, something beautiful starts to unfold. Mindfulness teaches you to witness your anxiety, not as something to be feared, but as something to be understood. You don't have to push it away, you don't have to fight it. You just sit with it, breathe with it, let it be, and then let it go. There's this beautiful study out of Harvard that showed how just 8 weeks of mindfulness meditation led to measurable changes in brain structure. The participants showed reduced gray matter density in the amygdala, the part of the brain associated with stress and fear, and increased gray matter in the hippocampus, which is tied to learning, memory, and emotional regulation. That's science confirming what so many people already know deep in their bodies. Mindfulness doesn't just make you feel better. It rewires your brain for resilience. And let's talk about meditation too, because they're often used together and for good reason. Meditation gives you a container, a sacred space to practice mindfulness with intention. It could be 5 minutes, it could be 20, it could be silent or guided or paired with music or breath work. But what it always is, a place to return to yourself. Mateo, our ever skeptical but beautifully curious friend, was convinced meditation was too woo-woo for him. "I can't clear my mind," he told me. And I laughed gently because that's the biggest myth about meditation, that it's about emptying your mind. Meditation is about watching your thoughts without holding onto them. Letting them pass like clouds. Not chasing, not fixing, not judging, just noticing. And then bringing your attention again and again back to your breaths. Back to your body, back to the now. So I offered Mateo a challenge, just 3 minutes a day. Sit, close your eyes, breathe in for 4, breathe out for 6. And when your thoughts wander, and they will, just smile and come back to your breaths. 2 weeks in, he texted me. I didn't think it was working until I had a stressful call at work and didn't snap. I just breathed. It was like my body remembered the calm. Oh, that's the beauty of meditation. You train in the quiet so you can respond with grace in the storm. It becomes muscle memory. Emotional resilience you build breath by breath. And guess what? You don't need a fancy cushion. You don't need incense or a Zen garden unless you want those things. All you need is willingness. 5 minutes, a quiet corner, or a noisy one. You can meditate in your car before a meeting. On the edge of your bed, in the bathroom if that's where no one bothers you. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be yours. Let me tell you about a mom named Nadia I once worked with. 3 kids, 2 jobs, a heart full of love, but a nervous system in shambles. She told me she didn't have 1 minute to meditate, let alone 10. So I asked her when she did something repetitive, something she didn't have to think about. Washing dishes, she said. And I said, perfect, that's your meditation. She started treating dishwashing as her practice. Feeling the water, the texture of the plates. Watching her breath, noticing her senses. Letting thoughts come and go without diving in. After a month, her anxiety spikes were down. She was less reactive with the kids. It turns out my kitchen sink is holy, she laughed. And she wasn't wrong. Mindfulness is like that. It sneaks into ordinary moments and turns them into anchors. There are even studies, like the one published in JAMA Internal Medicine, showing that mindfulness meditation rivals some medications in its effectiveness at reducing symptoms of anxiety and depression. And without side effects. No prescription needed, just a willingness to show up. And I get it, some days are harder. Some days anxiety feels like a wave crashing before you even open your eyes. On those days, even 5 minutes of stillness can feel impossible, that's okay. On those days, mindfulness might look like placing a hand on your heart and whispering, you're okay, this will pass. It might be staring out the window and naming 5 things you can see. It might be holding a warm cup of tea and letting that warmth remind you that you're still here. Still breathing, still held. Because that's the soul of it, really. Mindfulness doesn't take away anxiety, but it reminds you that you are more than your fear. That even inside the whirlwind, there's a center. And that center is you. So if you're walking through anxiety right now, know this, you're not broken, you're not failing. You're responding to a world that's loud and fast and unpredictable with a body that's trying to protect you. That's all anxiety is, a protection system gone a little overboard. And mindfulness, it teaches your system that you're safe, that you can rest. That you don't have to brace for impact every second. Start small, sit with yourself, breathe like you mean it, notice without judging. And come back again and again, that returning, that's the practice. And I'll be here every step, every breath, every beat of the way. We're learning to be with ourselves in a new way, a softer way. A way that says even this is part of healing. This one carries a kind of grounded magic, moving your body regularly. And no, not for punishment, not to chase perfection, but to come alive again. This is about releasing anxiety from your cells, your shoulders, your breath, not just your mind. I want to start with something Clara once told me. She said, when I'm anxious, it feels like my body is a cage and my thoughts are bouncing off the bars. That image stayed with me. Because anxiety doesn't just live in the brain. It sets up camp in the muscles, the gut, the heart rate. It floods you with adrenaline and tension and makes it hard to sit still, hard to focus, hard to feel safe. And that's exactly where movement comes in, not as another thing to perfect, but as a way to set yourself free. You don't have to be an athlete. You don't need to train for a marathon. What matters is this, you let your body move. In any way that feels good. Walking, stretching, dancing, running, lifting, flowing. Because the science, it's overwhelmingly in your favor. A major review published in the journal Depression and Anxiety found that regular physical activity significantly reduces symptoms of both anxiety and depression. And it doesn't take much, just 20 to 30 minutes a few times a week. Why? Because movement releases endorphins, our natural mood elevators. It reduces cortisol, that stress hormone that so often stays stuck on high in anxious bodies. It enhances GABA, a neurotransmitter that calms the nervous system. In short, movement tells your brain you're safe now. You can stop running from the tiger. Mateo, ever the analytical one, tried running at first, it didn't stick. But then he discovered boxing, something about the rhythm of hitting pads, the focus it took, the sweat and the power and the presence. He said, "It's the only time my brain shuts up." That's what movement can be, a kind of meditation in motion. Say a way to get out of your head and into your body. And it doesn't have to be intense. Some days Clara just walks barefoot through the grass. Some days it's dancing in her kitchen to Beyoncé. Some days it's slow yoga in her pajamas. But always it's about moving emotion through her body. Because energy that isn't expressed gets stuck. And stuck energy becomes anxiety. There's also something healing about rhythm. Repetitive motion, like walking, swimming, cycling, has been shown to have a regulating effect on the nervous system. It mimics the soothing rhythm of rocking, of a heartbeat of safety. That rhythm brings us back, helps us find steady ground. Even strength training, which people don't always associate with anxiety, has powerful effects. It builds confidence, it releases built-up tension. It gives you a sense of control, of capability. You push, you breathe, you sweat, you release. And here's the part I love most. When you move your body regularly, not to change it, but to care for it, something shifts emotionally too. You start seeing your body not as the enemy, but as a partner. You notice how your breath changes, how your posture shifts, how your shoulders drop after a good stretch. That's your body saying, "Thank you for listening." Movement also helps you sleep better, which is crucial for anxiety. It regulates your appetite, boosts your resilience to daily stressors, gives you a sense of accomplishment even when the day felt messy. It creates momentum, and momentum is hope in action. So the invitation is simple: find one small way to move your body today. Not to fix your anxiety, but to tell it gently, "I see you, I'm here." And we're moving through this together. Let's talk about some things that is pure medicine for your nervous system: deep diaphragmatic breathing. And I know it can sound so simple, too simple even. Like really, breathing. But friend, let me tell you, this is not just any breath. This is the kind of breath that anchors. That shifts your physiology. That opens up space in the tightest parts of you. It's a lifeline disguised as an inhale. You see, when anxiety hits, whether it's a whisper or a full-body roar, our breathing automatically gets shallow fast. Upper chest, short inhales, like our body is bracing for something. That kind of breath tells the brain we're in danger. It triggers the sympathetic nervous system, that fight, flight, freeze mode, and keeps anxiety spinning like a storm that won't let up. But when you slow your breath, when you pull the air all the way down to your belly, you're not just inhaling oxygen. You're sending a signal, a powerful physiological message to your entire being that says you're okay. You're safe, you don't have to run. That's the magic of diaphragmatic breathing. It activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the body's rest and digest mode, the calm after the storm mode. And the shift is real. It lowers your heart rate, decreases blood pressure, reduces cortisol levels, and brings you back to your body right here, right now. Clara learned this in a moment she wasn't expecting. She was standing in line at the grocery store, minding her own business, when suddenly her chest tightened, palms went clammy, vision blurred. A panic attack out of nowhere. She dropped her basket and stepped outside, shaking. "Breathe," she whispered, but she couldn't find it. Then she remembered a practice we talked about: in for 4, hold for 4, out for 6, over and over. She put a hand on her belly, felt it rise, felt it fall. And slowly, so slowly, the world started coming back into focus. Her breath pulled her out of the spiral. That wasn't magic, that was biology. In fact, a study in Frontiers in Psychology found that diaphragmatic breathing reduces negative affect, improves attention, and enhances autonomic nervous system function. Another one in the Journal of Clinical Psychology reported that people who practiced deep breathing for just 20 minutes a day saw significant reductions in anxiety symptoms within 8 weeks. And here's the best part, you don't need anything but you. Your breath is always there. A tool you carry in your pocket, accessible in traffic, in elevators, in tough conversations, in sleepless nights. Mateo, our ever-practical thinker, set reminders on his phone, just breathes. 3 times a day, no matter what he was doing, he'd pause for 1 minute, in for 4, hold for 4, out for 6. Over time, he didn't need the reminders. His body started asking for those breaks. It craved the calm. It remembered how to come home. There are so many techniques: box breathing, 4-7-8 breathing, alternate nostril breathing. But they all come back to the same truths. When you breathe with intention, you take your power back. You stop being dragged by your thoughts and start sitting at the center of your own peace. Try this the next time anxiety creeps in. Place one hand on your heart, one on your belly. Inhale slowly through your nose, feeling your belly expand like a balloon. Hold for a beat, then exhale gently through your mouth, letting your belly soften. Repeat for 2 minutes, watch what happens. You might cry, you might yawn, you might feel your pulse slow. That's your system resetting. You don't need to be in a meditation cave. You don't need to be in the mood. You just need a moment, a corner, a breath. And each time you choose to breathe like this, you're not running from anxiety. You're meeting it, sitting with it, and whispering, "You're not in charge here, I am." Have you ever thought about embracing calming natural remedies? This isn't about quick fixes or miracle cures. It's about reaching for nature's quieter gifts when your body says, "I need to soften." When anxiety presses in and your mind is spinning, there's something deeply sacred about turning to remedies that have soothed humans for centuries. Let me tell you about Clara, of course. You knew she'd find her way here. One winter, anxiety hit her hard. The gray skis, the too long to-do list, the constant hum in her chest. She felt tired and jittery all at once. One night, she brewed a mug of chamomile tea, added a splash of honey, and just sat in silence while it steeped. No music, no scrolling. Just warm steam and her own breath. And when she took that first sip, she said it felt like her nervous system exhaled. That moment sparked a curiosity in her. What else in nature could help bring her back to herself? There are so many gentle allies in the plant world. Lavender is one of the most well-studied. Used as an essential oil in a diffuser or even tucked under your pillow, it's been shown to significantly lower anxiety levels. One study published in Phytomedicine found that oral lavender oil capsules were just as effective as lorazepam, an anti-anxiety medication for generalized anxiety without the sedative effects. Then there's lemon balm, a soft citrus-scented herb that's known for reducing restlessness and promoting calm. Valerian root, which has a stronger, earthier presence, is often used at night to help with anxiety-driven insomnia. Passion flower, with its strange and beautiful bloom, supports sleep, but also helps ease racing thoughts and muscle tension. And good old chamomile, it's more than a cozy bedtime sip. Its active compound, apigenin, binds to brain receptors that promote sleep and reduce anxiety. Mateo tried magnesium after reading that it helps regulate neurotransmitters and calm overactive nerves. He was skeptical at first, but after a few weeks of a low-dose supplement under the guidance of his doctor, he noticed the 3 a.m. wake-ups were less frequent. My edges feel less sharp," he said. That's the kind of progress we're after, softness, not silence. Even food itself can be a remedy. Omega-3 fatty acids from fish like salmon or plant-based sources like flax seeds have anti-inflammatory properties that support brain health and mood stability. B vitamins found in greens, grains, and legumes help regulate the nervous system. What we eat feeds our resilience. And let's not forget the sensory rituals that amplify the remedy. Lighting a candle while you drink tea. Diffusing essential oils while doing breath work. Soaking in a warm bath with a few drops of lavender or eucalyptus. These aren't indulgences, they're reconnections. They slow the world down long enough for you to feel again. Now, a soft but essential note: natural doesn't always mean harmless. Herbal supplements can interact with medications or affect certain conditions. So if you're curious about trying something new, always check in with a qualified practitioner. The goal is gentle support, not accidental imbalance. But mostly this part of your anxiety care, it's about ritual, a pause. A signal to your system that you are tending to it with love, not force. When you choose a calming remedy, you are saying to yourself, I am worth slowing down for. I thank you so much for listening to this podcast. Remember to like, follow, subscribe, and do all those lovely things you wonderful people do. I'll see you next time.